this is 2.5 opinions, and I find myself sans everybody else. So I will try to get through this without making it boring or dull or dragging on or anything like that. So if you haven't guessed, it's just me, Frank. So oh, sorry, my computer's a little bit wrong. Okay. All right. Anyway, today's Torah portion is Vayikeh. I hope I pronounced that right. And this is the last Torah portion of the book we call Genesis or Bereshit. This is where Jacob tells a story. We get the blessings of the sons of Israel, and he dies, and he gets taken and buried in the cave of Machpelah, and they all come back, and his brothers are like, well, hey, little Joey might be upset still, so we'll tell him that Dad said not to be mad at us. And he cries and says, hey, am I in the place of God? And little Joey finally dies, and that's roughly the whole book, or the whole end of the book. So I just wanted to share some of the things that I found in the portion that were just made me scratch my head, and I didn't. I understand what's happening, but it maybe you all will see the connections that I do, because, as I've said before many, many times, my brain is kind of an eclectic collection of thoughts. It's great storage capacity, but the file system is for it's trying to recall things. Where did I put my keys? So remember, I'm the irreverent one. So I will read the maftir, and as soon as I can get my computer to work properly, I'll do the blessing. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, asher bakar banu mikol ha'amim v'tan lanu et Torato. Baruch atah Adonai notein haTorah el melech Naaman. Genesis 50, 23 through the maftir portion. Joseph saw children of a third generation born to Ephraim. Also the sons of Machir, the son of Manasseh, were born on Joseph's knees. Joseph said to his brothers, I am going to die. God will surely remember you and take you up out of this land, to the land he swore to Abraham, to Yitzhak, and to Yaakov. And Joseph adjured the children of Israel, saying, God will surely remember you, and you shall take up my bones out of here. And Joseph died at the age of 110 years, and they embalmed him, and he was placed into a coffin in Egypt. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, asher natan lanu Torah imet v'kayei olam nata b'tukenu. Baruch atah Adonai notein haTorah melech Naaman. Hazak, hazak, v'net hazek. Be strong, and be strengthened. Malik Naaman. That's a prayer we say at the end of every book in Torah, because it is our hope that we are strong, and then strengthened by God. So they're some very curious things. And if I can find my notes, I will see. Oh, I apologize. My computer is just being a right royal pain in the you-know-what's-this. It's funny how we allow inanimate objects to to upset us, but when you think things are going well, they're not going exactly how you thought they would go. So I'd like to start off at 49:24. And these are just some things that they stick out, and you go, okay, what's that about? All right, let's see. But his bow was strongly established, and his arms were gilded from the hands of the mighty one of Jacob. And there he sustained the rock of Israel. The word rock, it's a combination of father and son. And I know a lot of you have heard it before. I just wanted to mention it again in case some of you had forgotten. So, and again, forgive me, this is the way my mind works. Is it any wonder that my mind goes toward the New Testament when Yeshua is asking, who do men say that I am? And he gets a couple answers, and then Peter pipes up and he says, oh, you're the Son of God. And he says, on this rock, and I'm paraphrasing, so please, don't get upset. I'm paraphrasing. On this rock, I will build my church, my ecclesia, my congregation, my called out ones. So on this rock, I don't think it's too far a stretch. And I don't have Chris here to tamp me down. It's not a bad thing. He keeps me from flying off the handle about my connections and conjectures and opinions and things like that. It's a good thing, because he asked me, really? Is that what you? So, Chris and Jesse have prior commitments at the moment. That's why they're not here. So, so is it hard to make the connection that that's what Yeshua is saying on this rock, on the connection between the Father and the Son, that's what I will build this group of called out ones? I don't think that's too far a stretch, honestly. So I'm trying to open up the chat room. Apparently I don't have the right password or anything, so I apologize to those of you who are listening. It's just not working out for me. I was gonna ask Jesse about it, and I didn't get the chance to, so that's my fault, and it's just no good way around it. All right. Let me get back to that. Okay. Then, if you would, go to 49:33. Come on, computer. I feel like Scotty. Computer. Okay. And Jacob concluded commanding his sons, and he drew his legs up into the bed and expired and was brought to his people. Now, it's interesting that the extra biblical text that we like to quote, like to look at, it says that but no mention is made of death in his regard. And our rabbis of blessed memory said, our father Jacob did not die. Okay. There was a physical cessation, but there was no ending of his life. Does that make sense to you guys? His life left his body and went with or to his people, his forefathers. In the New Testament would be called Abraham's bosom. God is the God of the living, not the dead. So those who have strong faith in the Most High, blessed be He, that is their reward, going to Abraham's bosom. It's not, again, not just of faith, but faith and works. We've already gone over that in weeks past. I'll show you my faith, and then the other one says, I'll show you my faith by my works. Is it James? Yeah. It's these things that stand out in front of me when I read through the portion. It's like, oh yeah, we can go over that. And I apologize for not being as ready as I should be, because 2.5 Opinions is really a discussion between people. I'm not the kind of person who can stand up and just banter back and forth without some feedback. I need to know what the other person is thinking or why they're thinking it, and then things come up and I can say, oh, but what about this? Oh, but what about that? So on and so forth. Now that was those points. The next one is 50 verse 8. Chapter 50 verse 8. And this doesn't have any commentary from Rashi, but let me give you a thought. And Joseph's entire household and his brothers and his father's household, only their young children and their flocks and cattle did they leave in the land of Goshen. Okay, fast forward to the book of Exodus, or Shemot, which starts next week. And it says that there arose a Pharaoh in Egypt who did not regard or did not know Joseph. As much as a group of people can be, the Egyptians wrote records for everything. So it's not that the pharaohs did not know Joseph. They did not regard him in any way from who the pharaohs were before. You've got a pharaoh who made him Zephanath-paneach. It's called the bread man, or the one who sees. That's another title, or another explanation of the name. How can a people have a viceroy like Joseph, who's 110 years old, which means he led them, aside from Pharaoh, for 80 years? Okay, they're going to write stuff about him. They're going to know about him. They're going to understand, hey, this guy's really wise. This guy knows what to do. And he saved Egypt from the famine, and he did this and he did that. It's not that they didn't know him. There arose people, leaders, a pharaoh, who didn't regard him. In other words, they kind of resented him because he was put in charge, and they were like, who is this Hebrew? Are we not our own people? Should we not, rule ourselves? So shortly after his death, they were actually starting to subjugate the Hebrews, the children of Israel, before his death. But once he died, he was no longer able to lead and be in the position that he was in. So, they enslaved the children of Israel. Well, when you enslave a people, you can't do it just, overnight. You actually have to work at it by hook and by crook, by subterfuge, by any means necessary. But when it says that, let me go back to actually verse 7. So Joseph went up to bury his father and all Pharaoh's servants, the elders of his house, and all the elders of the land of Egypt went up with him. And in Joseph's entire household, and his brothers and his father's household, only their young children and their flocks and cattle did they leave in the land of Goshen. Okay, I'll give you an insight. This is how Frank's brain works. This is very similar to when Moses is talking to Pharaoh and telling him, let my people go. And we need to go out into the wilderness. We need to pray and have a feast to our Lord, etc., etc. And Pharaoh is like, I don't know this God of yours. Okay, that's a lie. He did know about him. Pharaoh is still being deceitful, at least the office of Pharaoh, because this is not the same Pharaoh, obviously, who had put Joseph in charge, and it's not even that Pharaoh's descendant that had left Joseph in charge. It is a new Pharaoh, actually the son of another Pharaoh, and he's dealing deceitfully with Moses. So this phrase, only their young children and their flocks and cattle did they leave in the land of Goshen. Pharaoh says this to Moses. Well, you and your men can go, but your young children and your flocks, you leave here. And Moses is like, no, everybody. So if you look at this, and this is Frank's opinion again, if you look at this, then you have to think that, okay, Pharaoh had to be a student of his own country's history. So he knew what was going on. So he throws this back in Moses' face to say, essentially, well, when Joseph was taken up out of here, it wasn't everybody that left. It was just, the elders and the family. The children and the livestock, they stayed here. So you do the same. You do the same, Moses. And Moses is like, We're not going for a funeral. Everybody must go. So again, there's no uh, notes here from Rashi or anybody else. It's just these two verses. Actually, this one verse, verse 8. And when I read over the portion, I see that and I go, oh, I'll bet you. I'll just bet you. Because I'm sorry, you can't be a ruler of your country or anything and just be plain ignorant. I mean, and I'll give you a why for. Okay. You can rule, but you will be brought down. Look at the Caesars. Yes, I know that's thousands of years later, but still, it's an example of people who rule countries, people who are in charge. If they have no regard for the people, even their officers, their other leaders, their other military, the other people who are in the country. If that person is just so bad, I mean, look at the story of Caligula, one of the most despotic, most depraved people to lead Rome, was killed by his own men. Okay. Of course, the story of Julius Caesar is, they won't stand for it. They won't put up with it. If you're that ignorant, then you're not going to last. So Pharaoh knew the history, and Pharaoh knew what was going on. And I dare say I don't really think anybody could change my mind on this, because I can look at it, and I am a student of history, but I am not a master of history. I like reading about history. Once I read it, once I understand it, I can go, oh, okay, that's how this worked and that's how that worked. I can look at the Torah and I can say, wait a second. This is like this and this is like this. Because we only have our own frame of reference, so to speak. We only have what we have in common, what we have experienced in our lives, what we see and how we make connections. That's how we make decisions. You can take classes, get a degree, and that degree is valuable, but only in so much as you can apply it to the real world. So when you get a job, you can't walk in and go, yeah, I'm the man, I know everything. No. You may have good ideas, you may have good information, but those ideas and information do not always apply to that particular situation that you are placed in. They can help. It might get you out of a tight spot. You may, come up with a great idea that's similar to what you were taught, but applies to the situation you're in, and your boss, your supervisor, the owner of the business, whatever, will go, hey, you're pretty smart. Okay. And then make mind of it. We'll keep it in mind. And as long as you keep working that way and you keep working toward being a better employee, a better member of the team, or even a better employer, say you open a business, you still have to regard the people that you work with and or the people you hire. We go to work roughly 8 hours a day. Sometimes people work more. And we have to get along with the people we work with. We don't have to be their friends. We don't have to be buddy-buddy. We don't have to do any of that. But we have to be amicable to other people. We can't go to work and just be a plain butthead. We just can't. You never get anywhere doing that. And you make a lot of enemies. And even people who might have thought that they could work with you, they start avoiding you. So, and I know this is a long, circuitous route that Frank has, that all of these things come up with and Frank has to make references to. But these are my experiences, my learning, my understanding. So I hope you bear with me. I want to go to, where is it? Now this was an interesting connection that I thought of. Or actually, sorry, not I thought of, read. In 50, verse 13. And his sons carried him to the land of Canaan, and they buried him in the cave of the field of Machpelah, which field Avraham bought for burial property from Ephron the Hittite before Mamre. Excuse me, just a second. Sorry, I had to hit the cough button. It's cold in Oklahoma, and it's a little bit dry. And if you talk for a period of time and you don't take anything to drink, you start to get dry mouth and you go, So, anyway, they carried him. In other words, they carried his coffin back into the land of Canaan, and they buried him. Well, the sages say that they carried him with 3 on each side. Levi didn't carry him because Levi was due to carry the burdens of the priesthood. And Joseph didn't carry him because Joseph was a king as far as they were concerned. And he was a king. He was just under Pharaoh. So it was Ephraim and Manasseh who are, in this portion, claimed by Jacob as his own. Okay, we'll go back to that, just so you know. So that's how we count the tribes. It's everybody but Levi and Joseph, but in Joseph's stead, Ephraim and Manasseh. So there's still 12 tribes, because Levi is not counted in the association of tribes, because Levi is separate. Levi is God's portion. So they carry him 3 on a side. That's interesting, because the sages go further. Actually, this is Rashi, that it was the same as the martial array as we see in Exodus and the rest of the books. So is it from this encounter, this story, that they remember and do that? Or is it because the majority of Israel remember the story of their father and their grandfather and their grandfather's father and so on, and they realize that it would be so many on the east, so many on the west, so many on the south, so many on the north? It's an interesting tidbit. It's an interesting thought. When you look at it, it's like, oh, that kind of fits. And sometimes I'm critical of the sages because it seems as if they are looking for a problem to an answer. I know I said that wrong. here you have an answer later on in the other books. So why would they do that? Oh, well, it must be because this is the way they carried Jacob, to the grave in Machpelah. That's all well and good. And for all I know, it is this way. Again, we're looking at extra biblical text that the sages before them had access to. Some of the texts are lost to history. They're lost to antiquity. Some are not. A lot of this was handed down mouth to mouth from father to son, father to son, father to son. And it's what we have to go on. Commentary upon Torah. Let me say that again. Commentary upon Torah. Not a replacement for. Not to supersede, not to do, not not to take the place of. So that is some of the interesting things I saw in this portion. Now, I never expected to do this by myself today, but I never expected to get to all of my points. And that's just, it happens. So let me try to get up to the top where, okay, wait a second. Oh, sorry. More computer problems. Every time I go to move something else pops up. It's not, warning flags. It's Windows. I have so many windows opened in order to try to give a discussion of of what's going on in the portion, of who's in the portion, and what I say, that if I don't move the mouse just right, and okay, let's see. This is about, I wanted to go back to Ephraim and Manasseh. And come on. Come on. Sorry, I apologize. It's again, I was not prepared to get this far this soon. In chapter 48, chapter 40, excuse me, 48, verse 4 and 5, but I'll read 5. And now, as for your 2 sons, who were born to you in the land of Egypt, until I came to you to the land of Egypt, they are mine. Ephraim and Manasseh shall be mine, like Reuben and Simeon. He's not stealing Joseph's children. He is elevating them to the same level as the rest of the brothers. Joseph is not diminishing. Joseph is getting 2 shares of the inheritance because his 2 sons are getting a share apiece. And actually, one will get more than the other. So Jacob is saying, I'm elevating your 2 sons as if they are my sons. And I am doing this to give them shares in the land. He says, but your children after this, if you beget any, they'll be yours. They would actually fit into one of the other two tribes. Most likely, in Frank's opinion, they would be in Ephraim. But this is an honor for Joseph, who was the beloved son of Rachel. And then he was dead, and now he's alive again. And Jacob is, I never, thought to see your face again, and now I see your children's face. And he goes through all this stuff about blessing and promoting, and I just think it's really interesting that this is how Jacob he does it in front of the brothers, with all of them there, so that no one can dispute, because he knows his children. He absolutely knows his children. So now, whether or not he knew that they sold Joseph into slavery or not, that's a question for another day. I would think that he had some kind of understanding, but he couldn't prove anything, so he didn't come out and accuse the brothers. So I hope you guys are hearing me. I'm seeing the sound bar. It's going up and down. So again, I think that Jacob knew, one way or another, that something wasn't right with the whole situation about, the coat of many colors and the blood that was on it, and I'll tell you what gives me that thought. Well, because different livestock, if the blood is fresh, they smell differently, and it has to do with diet. So if they slaughtered a kid, Jacob, being a herdsman, would know the smell, the difference between human blood and an animal's blood. Humans and animals may have the same diet. In other words, some may be vegetarian, just like certain animals. But it's still the smell that is different, if the blood is fresh enough. And also, and this is experience working in a slaughterhouse, the blood looks different when it's freshly spilled from different animals. You can't tell exactly, but you go, okay, that's different from that. But as the air gets to them, as they weather, you can't tell the difference later on. So it would have to have been fresh for him to know the difference. So again, these are Frank's musings, Frank's thoughts, Frank's opinions, if you will, on the Torah portion. And I hope I haven't bored you to tears, and I hope I haven't made you upset or, oh, that Frank, he's an idiot, or anything like that. Of course, I'm not going to argue if you claim that I'm an idiot. That's your opinion. The only other thing I want to talk about are the blessings. Now, Reuben, he's, let me see if I can get down there real quick. Come on. Da-da-da-da-da. Hinematu manayim shevatakim gam yachad. Hinematu manayim shevatakim gam yachad. Hinematu. La 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 la. Hinematu. Sorry, I'm trying to fill dead airspace with singing while I'm looking for the spot on the portion where I can get to and talk some more. Okay. 49:1. Jacob called for his sons and said, "Gather, and I will tell you what will happen to you at the end of days. Gather and listen, sons of Jacob, and listen to Israel, your father." Now, the next couple verses will make you think. Reuben, you are my firstborn, my strength, and the first of my might. You should have been superior in rank and superior in power. You have the restlessness of water. Therefore, you shall not have superiority. For you ascended upon your father's couch. Then you profaned him who ascended upon my bed. But it says that Yaakov, blessed his sons. So this is not a cursing for Reuben. This is a telling of the situation, of the circumstances. He did the same for Simeon and Levi. He said, their brothers are stolen instruments are their weapons. Let my soul not enter their council. My honor you shall not join their assembly. For in their wrath they killed a man, and with their will they hamstrung a bull. Okay. 1, Simeon and Levi wanted to kill Joseph. In this saying, I'm assuming, you know how things are, that he's talking about them because he knew that they wanted to kill Joseph. And they knew, or he knew, that there was something strange about the coat of many colors. Could be that, the cuts in the garment were too clean. This is just the thought, okay? Because there's a difference between the cuts of a knife and the cuts of claws. Claws can cut clean in flesh, but in fabric, different story. They're not as sharp as razors. Knives, on the other hand, can be made sharp as razors, and typically were. So could be that. Could be the pattern of the cuts. I mean, we're talking Jacob here. Jacob knows. Okay, back when he went up against Laban, he said, look, if there was anything lost or torn from the herd, I suffered the loss. In other words, he's lived long enough to look at something and go, okay, something's not right here. It doesn't look like any wild animal I ever know. The blood doesn't smell like a human's blood. Again, Frank's conjecture, Frank's opinion. So anyway, and with their will they hamstrung a bull. Joseph was known as a bull. So that's why I think he's telling them, yeah, I know something strange was going on. But yet he blesses them. Because it says he blessed them later on after all the the story of what will befall you in the last days. He's a father who still loves his children. He may have favorites or a favorite, but he still loves his children. So he blesses them. I can't honestly think of a father who's worth being a father. Do anything but bless his children, or at least think of them, care for them, etc. I can't conceive of a father, somebody who's worthy of the title father, not just a baby daddy, okay, but a father, someone who has invested in their children, even if it's only minimal investment. Maybe dad's away all the time working so that mom and the kids can have a home. Maybe dad's in the military, or even mom's in the military, and dad's doing the best he can, or mom's doing the best she can, but one of the other's missing for one reason or another. Moms have a special place in all of our hearts. Well, because she's mom. Dads, fathers should have a special place in all of our hearts, regardless of what we've been through, what our history is. A dad, a father who is worthy of the title. Okay? That's the important part here. Who is worthy of the title. That person should have a place in our hearts. So, with that, I have reached the end of my opinions for today's portion, and I will not bend your ear any longer. I'll back out and let the music begin again. I apologize. It was the last minute that nobody was available, and it just happens sometimes. I did my best to do the show by myself, and without without feedback from somebody else. I can't tell if my opinion is getting across, or my thoughts. I can't tell if somebody is understanding, or if they're not understanding, maybe they can ask a question and say, well, what do you mean by that? And then I can try and elaborate. I apologize for that. That's my fault. I didn't have enough prep. So, for the situation. So I will take my leave, and I hope you all have, or have had, a blessed Sabbath. And I hope that the Most High, blessed be He, keeps you in His arms and keeps you warm, because it's darn cold out here in Oklahoma. It's really darn cold. But hey, I'm living here, so I guess I can't complain. Take care. May the Most High bless. Shavua Tov, Laila Tov, Lechitrot. And hopefully we'll see you next week with all of us. We'll see. Okay. I guess we're going to close the room, so... Okay. Remember, the short, disclaimer here is, if your speakers break or your computer breaks because I sing, I am in no way liable for any damages caused by that or any cameras that take my picture, okay? So, let me see if I can remember the song. Let me see. Do I remember the words? Okay. Mizmor shir, shir le'yom ha'shabos. 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 The whole world is waiting to sing the song of Shabbos. The whole world is waiting to sing the song of Shabbos. And I am also waiting to sing the song of Shabbos. I am also waiting to sing the song of Shabbos. The flowers and the trees sing the song of Shabbos. The valleys and the mountains sing the song of Shabbos. The stars in the skies sing the song of Shabbos. The angels in heaven sing the song of Shabbos. The whole world is waiting to sing the song of Shabbos. The whole world is waiting to sing the song of Shabbos. And I am also waiting to sing the song of Shabbos. I am also waiting to sing the song of Shabbos. I saw 6 million dying. They sang the song of Shabbos. I hear 3 million crying to sing the song of Shabbos. Stop all the hatred, sing the song of Shabbos. Love one another, sing the song of Shabbos. Dance on the street, sing the song of Shabbos. Dance on the street, sing the song of Shabbos. The whole world is waiting to sing the song of Shabbos. The whole world is waiting to sing the song of Shabbos. And I am also waiting to sing the song of Shabbos. Mizmor shir, shir le'yom ha'shabos. There. Are you happy now, Charlotte? Do it again, do it again. Come on, will you?